Hey, welcome to the Occult Raven. I'm Kendra. Thanks for clicking on this video. So this is going to be one in maybe a four-part series titled Moving from Metaphysics to Occult Wisdom. I see, and I'm sure you do as well, see here a ton of information given out on YouTube and just the internet at large in regards to metaphysics and occultism. And I think that it is extremely important for especially anyone who is actively practicing metaphysics or actively in occultism. It is extremely important to understand, what information it is that you are taking in. And if you are even taking in, information that you, that can actually help you out in your practice, right? Because to be very clear with this thing, you study to gain information. And when you gain that information should be turned into data. And data is exactly what you need to develop your divine self, your higher mind, right? That's what the study of metaphysics is supposed to do. And that is definitely what the practice of occultism is supposed to do, right? You are seeking your higher self. Now you can define it as, a conscious path, know thyself, spiritual path, a path of enlightenment, you name it. It all falls under the umbrella of really finding and developing your divine mind, your one divine sense, right? So if you've been on my, I'll say this really quickly before I dive right in. If you've been on my channel before, you know that I am not a just trust me kind of person. No. I'm not like that. I don't suggest that you be. I will give you book references, articles, wherever I get the information from. I will either show you. I love my books. I wish I could turn my camera around and show you this big ass stack of books. But, I am a big person on research, true occultism, right? You have to be able to have information in hand, at hand, okay? If you are dealing with something and you are looking for an answer, or you just want to mull over something, you're trying to get some information and extract from it, you want to have that information handy, right? Rely on no one. So, and I'll get into what I mean by, getting information and extracting from it, because the true practice of occultism is, it is a practitioner type of thing. You are looking for information to go in and extract. That extracted information now becomes data for you, right? And the data is exactly what you need to do to develop your higher self, right? This is an actual practice. So I'll dive right in. By the end of this video, we will understand very clearly what metaphysics is and what occultism is. So this is textbook, right, that I'm giving you here. Metaphysics, the branch of philosophy that deals with the first principles of things, including abstract concepts such as being, knowing, substance, cause, identity, time, and space. So let's think about that. Metaphysics is the philosophy that deals with the first principles of things. We are talking about hitting this thing with broad strokes. We're not being specific at all. And, giving the examples, identity, right? Very extremely broad. Time, very broad thing. Space, obviously that is a very broad subject, right? So we are not being specific in this. We are talking about, abstract concepts, but on a broad general level. Now, occultism. Supernatural, mystical, magical beliefs, practices, or phenomenon. They make it synonymous with paranormal, magic, black magic, witchcraft, sorcery, necromancy, witchery, black arts, white magic, devil worship, you name it, it's in there. They're talking about magic, right? And let's be very clear about the word occultism. Many, many English words have their root in Latin words. This is very basic etymology. The word occultism comes from the Latin word occult, occultus, O-C-C-U-L-T-U-S, occultus. And the Latin word occultus simply means hidden. Okay? It's really easy. We are talking about a broad subject, such as let's say space, right? We are dealing with space on a metaphysical level, and we're talking about space on a metaphysical level. Now you can deep dive into space on an occult level by talking about astrology, right? Astrology, we are talking very specifically about how the planets interact with humanity. Very specific things, okay? And I'm talking about astrology when done correctly. So that is a very prime example of how metaphysics and occultism differs, right? If it's not already apparent, occultism is an actual practice, right? Metaphysics is, I would say, in a sense, it's how you gather information. Is you gathering stuff. You know, you're talking about this. You're getting information on being, right? We're talking about humanity and that whole thing. So moving from being to a occult practice, occultism is, you know, very specifically being humanity. What powers, you know, do human beings possess? And that's when we get into magic, right? That's how they break down all of, you know, necromancy, witchery, and that whole thing, because occultism is an actual practice, right? So no longer be confused about this whole thing, right? Whoever you're listening to, hopefully me, but whoever you are listening to, and, you know, they're saying, hey, this is metaphysics, I'm teaching, or I'm doing a lecture on metaphysics, you know, listen to exactly what it is that they are saying. And if they are not talking about very broad topics, you know, at large, and if they are speaking on very specific things, astrology, hoodoo, you know what I mean? They practice numerology, okay? Then they are talking about occult teachings. You are now sitting in an occult lecture, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying it's extremely important to know what it is that you are doing, right? I think it's also important to know that when you go from metaphysics to occult wisdom, which is sort of the evolution of it, you know, it's just going from one level to the next. I'm not saying one level is higher or one level is lower. It's going from one level to the next. You sort of move from being the gatherer to, let's say you know what I mean, you're a farmer. and you plant your food and you go out and you're picking the food, right? You're picking the peppers that you planted, you're picking the apples off the trees, and and you get back to your kitchen. What are you gonna do now? You're gonna become the practitioner. You're gonna slice it up, you're gonna cook it up, however you want to do it, bake it. You are now becoming the practitioner. One goes hand in hand with the other, right? We cannot have one without the other. Some will say, and I actually really feel like this is a great interpretation of metaphysics is the very seed of occultism, right? It is the seed, it's the root of it. And from that, you get, you know, those hidden secrets, right? So with that, I'm just looking down at my notes so I don't miss anything. So with that being said, you have to understand moving from studying metaphysics to practicing occult teachings is a great way to develop your higher self. That's when you actually are taking the information that you have gathered out of metaphysical teachings, studies. You have taken that information, you are now turning that information into data. That's what we want to do. Okay? We want this information to be useful to us. We get information all the time on a daily basis, things that we don't even want to know, things that we don't even want to hear, things shit we're not even paying attention to, right? Prime example, have you ever had like a jingle in your head, like a commercial jingle, you know, and you're like, why do I keep singing this song? I don't understand this. It's because that has been presented to you as information, and unwillingly and unknowingly, you have taken that information in, and your body has planted that data seed, right? It has planted that seed. And now you are, you know, you regurgitate that information by singing the jingle or having a craving for, you know, McDonald's fries. You know, out of nowhere, you're like, I'd love some French fries. Like, what? You just saw a McDonald's commercial, or you just heard the commercial on the radio. You know, these things are everywhere. You just drove past a McDonald's sign and that big M was there and you paid no attention to it, but what did it do? It actually went past your sight, and your subconscious mind, you know, it grabbed a hold of that, okay? So even information that we do not want to take in, you definitely do. It is called social programming, and I will make a video about that. So any information that you can be in control of, right, you want to be. So especially when we're talking about developing our higher self, our divine mind, you want to be in total control of that information and what it is that you turn into data, you know, and plant in your subconscious mind. And yeah, so that is it. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, I actually wrote here, that's when you move from praying to commanding. So let me be really clear about that. You know, I actually said this to someone or in a circle of people or something like that, and I got like a look. You know, when I say, you know, you move from praying to commanding, I'm not talking about religion, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. You can do whatever you want to do. You can be of whatever you want to be of, right? You're grown, okay? Hopefully if you're on my channel, you're grown. Do what it is that you feel like is developing yourself. If it's a particular religion, then have the fuck at it, okay? I mean that you no longer seek something that is outside of yourself, okay? To manifest something or to get rid of something, okay? That's the prayer aspect of it. You are asking something that you feel like is outside of yourself to suffice you, right? To commanding. When you command, you are the chief, right? Okay? That is what true occultism is. You understand that you are the chief. You are the authority over your life, over what you manifest, over what you get rid of, over what you purge out of your life. You are the chief. You are the commander in chief. So that's what I mean by, you know, moving from praying to commanding. It has absolutely nothing to do with religion. Do you, right? Clear. So until part 2, and very specifically in this series, I will get into astrology, alchemy, and magic. because these are, again, they come from broad topics that can be pieced down and talked about on an occultist level, right? People practice astrology, people practice alchemy, and people definitely practice magic. Raise your hand. Okay. So we'll get into that, but hopefully you now understand. And if you came in with the understanding of what metaphysics was as opposed to occultism, kudos. If you did not, hopefully you understand. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I will absolutely, without a doubt, answer. And again, coming up in the next videos, I will specifically talk about astrology, alchemy, and magic. If you have any questions, leave them on this video. Therefore, I can take the questions and answer them in the next video. Okay, so until next time, thanks so much. The Occult Raven signing off. Peace.